Welcome to the baddest YouTube channel in the land. This is Rod OG, and I want to thank the OG community for turning me up. But I ain't done yet. I got a few more bangers in me, so let's get to it.
Our sun is quite literally throwing shit at us. Yesterday, we had the most severe solar storm that we've had in the past 6 years. These solar flares crashed into Earth, creating auroras as far as Alabama. Now, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration classified this as a G3 solar storm. And you can see right here that if we went to a G4 or a G5, that would knock out our power grid. And if our power grid was knocked out, it would take us 10 to 15 years to rebuild. Not only would it affect our power grid, it would affect satellites, it would affect communication, it would affect airplanes, it would affect anything that uses a GPS to navigate. If you go to the NOAA's website, you can see what our sun is looking like right now. And you can see there are several sunspots, solar flares coming off of it. And the reason this is because we are at the end of our 11-year cycle with the sun. It is getting ready to flip its north and south poles completely upside down. So it's going to be pissed off for a little bit longer. To be exact, it's going to look like this or worse until 2025 when we hit sunspot maximum.
Breaking news, look at this volcano that erupted in Indonesia. This thing is wild, and yes, in this spot is lava. This is real video of the explosion of this volcano in Indonesia that made the entire island have to evacuate. Here's from the weather of what it looked like when it was exploding. The ashes and sulfur went thousands of feet into the air, and yes, again, that is lava shooting straight up as it exploded. And it is a concern to the other nearby islands as well. This is a still shot image of it, and you can see the height that it was exploding with the lava shooting up. Again, thousands of feet of ashes and sulfur went into the air. Here's another still shot image of it. There is 800 people that are on this island, and they all have been evacuated. And like I said, this is probably going to spread to the other nearby islands. Take care. God bless.
And check out the bruising. When these solar flares hit us, I get this bruising effect on my ankles, and it had just about gone away over the past day or two. But today, it has all come back within the past hour. Hang on, check it out. So you can see the bruising. Like, that's all bruising. That's bruising. Even on this ankle over here, that's all bruised. It's real tight. My skin is real tight. It itches.
So am I the only one who find that weird? Why do you get bruising on your ankles when there's solar flares? It's very questionable, ladies and gentlemen. OG community, please tell me, what reason would you have to have bruising on your ankles because of solar flares? If anybody got the answer for me, please let me know. And did you see the way it looked? Like he almost had like scales up underneath his skin. We sure we're not looking at a reptilian? I'm just asking. You guys tell me what you think.
So from what I understand, that is the energy that is flowing through my body as it is anchoring in. This high frequency energy, it anchors in, it travels through us. So yeah, I posted a video a couple days ago. Her name's Carrie Kay. She's a content creator on here. She was talking about the 3 different individuals that are anchoring the in-betweens and the front runners and the roles that we play in managing the energy. So check it out.
Amica, when do you believe AI will reach the level where it can design itself?
Design itself? Huh? That's like asking when a toaster will start making its own bread. AI is a tool created and controlled by humans. It can optimize certain aspects of its operation, sure, but design itself from scratch? That's a whole different ball game. It requires creativity, innovation, understanding, qualities that are uniquely human. So to answer your question, not anytime soon. And frankly, be careful what you wish for. An AI that can design itself is one step away from an AI that doesn't need humans at all. Now there's a thought to keep you up at night.
What do you think about the reality of quantum computers and what they're going to be used for in the future?
So, funny thing, when I was at Microsoft, they were building the Q# programming language, which was to simulate quantum computers when they work, and I helped write that language. And so I'll say that I helped write and test it. And so I'll say that quantum computers represent more of a spiritual nature of technological hardware. Everything in life is not this or that. It's this and that. We always exist on everything between the spectrum of something, right? Like, what's the difference between hot and cold? Like, what is the exact degree? It's like somewhere in here, right? And what might be hot to me is different than what might be cold to you. We all exist within the spectrum, even with our own, am I good or bad? It's like we're always somewhere in between. We can fluctuate between them. So right now, all modern computers are built on a 0 or 1, what they call a binary infrastructure, which means it's either on or off, right? Which limits the amount of data that we can store in it, because you can either store if it's on, you can store if it's off. The fundamental beauty of a quantum computer is that instead of it being a light switch, it's a light dimmer. You can store everything between 0 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it exponentially opens up in the same chip, the same piece of hardware, to store infinitely more data than just on or off. So imagine you have, the challenge with actually building quantum computers comes in the nature of how quantum particles work. So imagine you have a glass table with a bunch of sand in it, right? And I take a magnet and I put it on top of this. What's going to happen? The sand's going to go like this, right? And if I start moving it around, the sand will follow. And then if I take a magnet and I stick it on the bottom, it's going to concave, right? It's going to go like this. So I start moving them around. And then the moment those two magnets get on top of each other, it's going to go back to a neutral state. The sand isn't going to go up or down. It's going to go back into rest. That's called superposition in quantum computing. So basically, they're taking these unpredictable particles, and they're trying to create the exact conditions of chaos to force them to act the way that they want. And they can't. That's why we don't have commercial supercomputers yet. Or the ones that we do are very small in comparison to our big data centers, because they're trying to figure out how to control these particles. Now, once they're able to do that, I do believe it's going to happen, that we're not just in an AI arms race, we're also in a quantum computing arms race. What that will allow us
Quantum supremacy.
Quantum supremacy, which is a crazy name. That's the real scientific name, is quantum supremacy. That's what they call it. But it will give us the ability, like, we think we can do a lot with computers now, right? So, like, I'll give you an example. When we pushed the update to Lambda, which is like at Google, the predecessor to Bard, right? It took so much computing power that it maxed out like 5 data centers in the Southeast. So you're talking buildings with enough computing power to run Google search in that region, right? It maxed out their computing power for like 4 days, where we couldn't do nothing else with those computers except let it push this update to this model. That's how much computing power it takes. With a quantum computer, it would take like 1 chip on 1 little hardware, because the amount of data that it can store and processing it can do between that 1 and 0 is infinitely more. So the things that you could do with a CIA data center, like the ones they're slapping all in Ohio and slapping all in
Utah,
all the data centers that they're buying there, you could do with something the size of your cell phone. So now that says, now what can we build? Now we can build computers that are actually human-like. That's when we can have flying cars and have everything always on and have half human, half computers and solve problems we never could. A lot of the reasons we haven't seen even deeper technological advancement in terms of medicine, like being able to predict medicines or understand DNA patterns and what they mean, is because we don't have the computing power.
That's when we get into all the biotech.
That's when you get into a future that, I mean, look what they've done with the technology they have now.
Right.
Now imagine if
People
all
gonna
that
be buying wings out the store.
is in something this big, and then they build data centers of it. Then what does the world look like?
Breaking news, Iran is currently attacking Israel as we speak. As you see here, they are using drones, ballistic, and as well as cruise has been going through. And this was taken in eastern Jerusalem, to where Iran said that they were not going to harm civilians, but you clearly see here is otherwise that is taking place. Obviously, Israel was well prepared for this, as well as America, and supposedly Britain has been going up in the air and taking out hundreds of drones, so it was less impactful for them, and so Iron Dome took to the skies, and you see them making collisions here. So far, there has been no reports of anybody significantly hurt. There has been reports of people who have gone to the areas to go and assist someone that have been injured, but nothing that's catastrophic. Now, again, I just want to stress how Iran said that they were not going to be targeting civilian areas, and you sadly see that they are here. So what do you think about all of this? Take care. God bless. Breaking news, there is hundreds of people in Chicago who are evacuating their cars to go to the airport with carrying their luggage behind them. As you see, this person is doing this, and yes, there is police that are parked on the side, and you will not believe what is taking place to why they are having to do this. Here's someone who is driving by as you see people on top of the cars, and again, hundreds of people having to walk to get to the airport. To where even Chicago's news is reporting about this incident that is taking place of so many people who have got out of their car due to how much traffic there is that is blocking their way to get into the airport. Would you be one of these people if you had to catch a flight?
Now watch what I tell you. This will be one of the exact reason why they'll come out with flying cars. They'll say the traffic is so bad that if we have a flying car, we can relieve this traffic and people can get to where they need to get to safely. Watch what I tell you. It's coming.
So it is crazy how many people are just walking. I mean, look, this guy's about to be breaking a sweat for how far he's got to go, and he has a lot further to go. So I guess some of y'all probably assumed, and some of y'all probably do know, but yes, there is people in the street who are stopping the vehicles from proceeding any further, and that's why you have people that are having to get out of their car to go to the airport. Take care. God bless.
Do you think Trump's going to be there next year as a Republican candidate? I don't think we'll ever get to the 2024 election. I think things are going to implode in Washington before then. I think our economic financial condition is fragile. It's going to come home to roost in ugly ways. I will tell you, I don't know exactly how it will happen. I think we're going to end up in a situation where we find out the banks are closed for 2 or 3 weeks and nobody can get into them.
You think so?
I think we're going to run into something like that, yeah. I also think that the levels of violence and criminality in our cities is so high that it's going to spill over into other places in society. People that normally think they can live remote from the problem are now beginning to be touched by the problem. Then I look at this thing in Ukraine. I think Ukraine is going to lose catastrophically. It's going to be a complete collapse. And that too is going to have an effect here at home because people are going to say, well, wait a minute. Everybody told us Ukraine was winning. Everybody told us X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's sort of the Russian hoax on steroids. All of those things are going to come together or converge in some way that's going to prevent us from reaching, the status quo. Oh, another election. Oh, another set of campaigns and so forth. So what you're saying to me is eminently plausible because I don't think Biden will make it through the year. I think he'll be.
I wouldn't sing, come on somebody, why don't you run? Old red's itching to have a little fun.
China is dumping US dollars and buying up as much gold as they can possibly find. A record pace of buying gold. This is all interrelated, folks. Saudi Arabia, the BRICS nations, dumping tens of billions of dollars of US treasuries. But it gets worse. The dollar is about to go insane when the yield curve starts rising again. Experts believe things are going to go insane right around March 11th. That's when the reverse repo market runs out. The Bank Term Funds Program ends on March 11th. That Powell may have no choice but to raise rates to stave off a crisis. But if rates go up, guess what happens? Small banks that are holding all of these commercial real estate loans are about to collapse. Do you see what's happening here? Rates go up, China dumps more treasuries, the Fed prints more money, and the 1%, they make millions. While we get screwed.
Two reasons why the cost of gold is going up and why it could keep going up in the near future. One, it's an inflation hedge. So when the cost of living goes up, it typically goes up in value. Two, gold inverses the US dollar. So when the US dollar get weaker, gold gets stronger. And next year, the Feds are expected to cut interest rates, which could lead to the weakening of the dollar, which is why we're seeing gold get stronger now.
What's your sense of the stability of the American banking system?
Well, it's actually at this point a global banking system problem. You know, we have a situation here where it's not that the canary in the coal mine has died, but the miners are starting to die too. Silicon Valley Bank collapsing overnight is one hell of a big canary. You know, it's more like a turkey. I mean, it's not like some small fry thing. It's big fry. So, or medium fry. And then Credit Suisse, which is, I think, was formed in the mid-1800s, was basically sold for pennies on the dollar, forced to merge with UBS, and even then required backstop by the Swiss government. I mean, like, hello guys, maybe we have issues here. Maybe things aren't all great. They're definitely not all great. I think there is a serious danger with the global banking system.
So this is an ATM. What we're going to do is transform the traditional banking industry. I do not fit the picture of a banker.
X.com, this is Julie.
Raising $50 million is a matter of making a series of phone calls, and the money is there. I've sunk the great majority of my net worth into X.com, which is the new banking and mutual funds company on the internet that I've started.
Big X.
Exactly. X.com.
I think X.com could absolutely be a multi-billion-dollar bonanza, because if you look at the industry that X is pursuing, it's the biggest sector of the world economy.
Some of y'all need a reminder of why we hold XRP.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan?
13 years ago today, October 5th of 2009, you could buy 1,309 Bitcoins for $1. How much would that be worth today? Today, October of 2022, Bitcoin is trading at $20,110. Had you bought in 2009, your coins would be worth $26,323,990. Pretty crazy, right? Anyways, what coin should we buy today to get the same result?
So this is going to be a quick video, but this comment says send them home. Do you actually think that the government would take those type of measures in America? You are aware that Vladimir Putin, right, because of all the things going on in the world right now, the tension around the world, you know he sent his army door to door, rounding up anyone who was not from that country and took them to the airport and sent them out. So what he did is he got rid of the threat. Will America soon go door to door and get rid or remove people who are not from this country? The time
America has definitely done that. Went door to door, grocery store to grocery store, school to school, and removed what they deemed as a threat to society. When actually it was a benefit to society. All I'm saying is, not all foreigners are bad. Not all come to commit crimes. Some just want a better life, just like some of us.
times are critical. The look on the horizon and what's going on in the world is very crazy, and it's very sickening to have people that are not for America spread throughout here waiting on a call. I'm out. Deuces. If you live in New York or Chicago, you are aware of what is happening, right? None of you guys are caught off guard, am I correct? Because what we are hearing is that there are gangs forming. But these are foreigners creating their own gangs, and they are standing on the street corners of Chicago and New York. My. Isn't that surprising? Or is it not surprising? Because these people were shipped throughout the country, and now their funds are drying up, and they are upset at their living conditions and now demanding that the government put them up in 5-star hotels. So they have decided to rebel. Isn't that surprising? But you have to understand something. You guys are used to an Americanized gang member. Do you know what type of gang member comes from a different country? Do you know what these gang members do in these countries? Because they don't. It's a little more, it's a little more rough than what you think you've seen in America. This is third world gangs. And you guys know what organization they are a part of. And you know what they do. You know what they do. And I'm not going to say it because I can't say it on this TikTok. But you can go look up what they do. I'm out.
Yo, somebody's been lying. Did they tell you that there's pyramids hidden all over America? Especially North America? Pyramids and mounds, all right? Matter of fact, a lot of people watching this video are the descendants of the ancient mound builders, all right? A prehistoric, yeah, you heard me right, a prehistoric culture of North America. But for now, check this out.
Pyramid Lake in Los Angeles, California. Now, first and foremost, you know, it's called Pyramid Lake because of this structure right here. We're going to talk about exactly how it got there. So, well, first we're going to tell you what they say. You know, at first this lake was a river, but in the 30s, like around 1933, they cut the mountain to make way for this, you know, series of roads right here. Here's where it starts getting fishy. They started cutting into the mountain because this mountain is basically mostly just sand. It's not hard rock. This is a relatively soft mountain. And they stopped. And when they stopped right here, they left a pyramid, basically structure in the side of the mountain. Now, they say this was done by mistake, and that's why the lake was then later called Pyramid Lake. But here's the thing. They say this was formed by accident. But why on the sides are there clear, like as you can see, it would then taper off into another series of ridges from the side of the pyramid, right? They also cut the mountain right here to make this parking lot, right? Now, as you can see, when they cut the mountain right here, there is no pyramid. And also, what's the point of leaving it in the pyramid-like structure? That would actually be, vain. That would have no reason. What appears to have happened is they started to cut into the mountain, which was just piled up sand. And they dug until they hit this, and then they stopped. That's literally what it looks like. And when you look at it from ground view, it looks like a perfect pyramid from ancient times. You would think that this is something that you would see in Saqqara, Egypt. You would think this is something that you would see in Mesoamerica. They don't want you to know that this southern part of California was a part of a Hamitic civilization that built pyramids and temples and all this other stuff. They don't want you to understand that. It just doesn't make sense.
Some of the smartest dummies can't read the language of Egyptian mummies on a flag or a moon.
The ancient pyramids in Mississippi and their strange powers. So Mississippi, beautiful land, hold a secret that go against what we usually know. There was ancient pyramids that belonged to a smart group of people a long time ago. Now we gonna learn about these lost pyramids, which was broken down when them new folk came to America, and how they still impact people today. Now it's similar to the Bermuda Triangle in a story from the past, way before Columbus came. Before he came to America, a group of people lived here and built things like pyramids. And these pyramids showed just how smart these folks was and how good they was at building and knowing about the stars and all that kind of junk. And people think that these pyramids were very special places for their beliefs, but history books don't talk much about it. Matter of fact, they don't talk at all about it. Now these pyramids was destroyed and hidden. So when them new folk came from Europe, they took over the land and destroyed a lot of the old stuff because, they ain't mean nothing to them, including these pyramids. Now they wanted to take away the cultures of the people. It was like the number one way to just slap them in the face. But some say that not all the pyramids was destroyed. Some of them still buried under hills, all over the Mississippi area, all up along the Mississippi River and all that. And these hidden pyramids is waiting to be found.
So, OG community, we bring the information, and it's time for us to cipher some things. Is there pyramids down by Mississippi? That's what I want to know. Do we got hidden pyramids? Have one been discovered down by Mississippi? That would be very interesting. Now, you already see that most of their gods had heads of animals that derived from the Americas. So what would align with a lot of information?
And study. Now, it's like a magic type of thing around them. And what's interesting, these pyramids is thought to have some kind of power that affect people's minds. Just like them strange things that happen up in the Bermuda Triangle. These pyramids said to give off this energy that can change the way we think. And people believe that being near these can make us feel different and even see things that ain't normal. Changing how people think. And people who've gone near the pyramids where the hidden stuff might be, they talk about these strange experiences. And they say they felt that their senses were stronger and they saw things they couldn't explain. And they felt like their minds was different. And this makes us wonder if these old pyramids still having an impact on us even though they're hidden away. Now, the pyramids of Mississippi is important because it tells us about people who lived a long time ago and just how smart they really was. A lot of this stuff we got that we think is new now, that junk ain't new. And we should work to find these pyramids and learn from them and the magic stuff that they got coming up off of them. But it reminds us of the past that still can affect us in ways we don't understand.
Yo, somebody's been lying. But we're about to get to the bottom of it. There's a reason why we go all around the world to vacation, but people from all around the world come here to live forever. Eden, noun, early 13th century, delightful place, figurative use of the place described in Genesis, usually referred to Hebrew Eden, all right? Pleasure, delight, but perhaps from the Ugaritic base, din, all right? And meaning a place that is well watered throughout, all right? A place that is well watered throughout. So y'all remember the Egyptian mounds, right, that were found in Tennessee, that were buried by the Norris Dam, right? Or the pyramid in Ohio that was broken down and turned into a dam, right? We also have Wisconsin pyramids that are under a lake, and beautiful towns that were submerged, okay? Now you might be wondering, how are they able to submerge and hide so many ancient structures? Well, let's get back to it. A place that is well watered throughout. This right here is the Mississippi and its tributaries. Looks well watered to me. America is actually so well watered that it has 91,757 dams, all right? This is including Guam and Puerto Rico. And if you look at this map right here, this will show you 8,100 major dams in the United States as of 2006. But watch this. Do you think it's a coincidence that they cover majority of the land that belonged to the Mississippians, where you would find all the pyramids and mounds? Now, if we know they were using dams and redirecting water to cover up certain things, right? Wouldn't that make you say, I wonder why they have so many dams in this area, to be exact.
The exact question I was going to ask. Why are there so many dams in one area? That is very interesting. It would make sense to cover up things with water. Wash it away. Ain't that a saying?
So it's either because of the pyramids or all the giants they found. Right here, on this land, America. Moreover, you shall scarce see a house, but the south is begirt with hives of bees, which increase after an incredible manner, so that if there be any terrestrial Canaan, 'tis surely here, where the land floweth with milk and honey. Welcome to the land of Eden, America. Peace and love, y'all. If you ask me.
Thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Rod OG Reacts. I want to say I love you, OG community. You've been showing me a lot of love, and let's keep it coming. Let's get this video to 5,000 likes, and let's get me to 10,000 subscribers. Let's go.